Well, hello, everyone. All 0 of you in the chat. So this is a 1000K live stream to celebrate me getting 1,000 subscribers, and I'm super happy about it. So until people start showing up and asking questions, I am just going to go over and tell you exactly what I hate about all of my old videos. So let's start with the one that began it all, is social science.
Hello there.
Real science. And man, just let's look at some production values here. That is some excellent lighting. Shot with the built-in webcam on my computer and a blue snowball microphone that is out of frame, so not even a little bit close to my mouth. And that was my first YouTube video. And I actually don't hate it, but it proves to show that you don't need a whole lot to actually get started here. So yeah, if you're thinking about starting a YouTube channel, please start your own channel. Hello! Liberal Energy Product and Oreo, 2 of my best friends online. Thank you guys for stopping by. As you can see, I'm probably going to move this over here, shouldn't I? So, I'm going to have the chat pulled up right here, and any questions you have, please shoot them my way. I'm going to tell you everything I hate about all of my videos. We're going to put them on double speed. Hey, General Line, Dorian Sapiens, thanks y'all for showing up for my live stream Q&A session. Y'all are super cool. By the way, I'm going to go ahead and put the link to my Discord in the chat here. Invite people to Discord. So, hidden use copy button, copied. So if y'all want to hop in and yell at me in real time, you are more than welcome to do that.
Guy with a shitty webcam, no editing skills, and a beard, and I'm mad at someone on the internet. So mad that I'm going to make a very long video where
It's like it pulses in and out with that shitty lighting. There's nothing in front of me that was lighting me whatsoever.
nitpick their points and never give them a chance to respond. So the first video on this channel is going to be a response video to a Twitter fight that I had. So it's...
Yeah, this is back when I had 181 followers. Excellent. 181 followers on Twitter, 0 subscribers on YouTube. Yeah. So this is the one that started it all.
Best possible start. It's only downhill from here.
Just gonna add mine to the top here. There we go. Okay, that part of the video was shot with my cell phone. That looks way better than my webcam. It would have been way better for me to shoot the entire thing on the cell phone. It would have looked way better to shoot that entire thing and then just edit the audio and post. But, well, what can you do?
So, which internet bad guy is worthy of my scorn today? Well, it's a fellow by the name of Sandre Speaks, one of the YouTubers, whom's is bad. By that I mean he's yet another anti-SJW dude with a thing in the suit avatar who uses the same predictable paint-by-the-numbers approach to all political and social issues that we've seen 1,000 times before. Did he make a video getting mad at the Gillette commercial and give it the world's laziest title? You bet he did. Does he think misogyny and rape culture are overblown by the snowflakes on the left? You bet he does. The media? Bunch of fake news. Race science? Of course he... Okay, he actually debunks that pretty hard, but you know he stands all the grifters in the intellectual dark.
It just keeps fading in and out. All this stuff. All this stuff that I can't unsee now.
Okay, he does have some correct opinions mixed in with the more problematic stuff. I actually enjoy and recommend his video on Sam Harris. You should check it out. I'll put a link in the description. He has a background in chemistry, and a good chunk of his content is either just straight-up chemistry videos or things related to it, like climate change. So he's a big proponent of science. But if you've been on the internet long enough to have ever heard a thing in a suit avatar explain to you what they think science is, well, some of it is predictable. You see, his opinions on what constitutes science...
So I did not have any form of... I didn't have anything set up in front of me. I would just literally I would open up in a separate window the script that I had, and then memorize one line, and then go line by line. That's why there are 1,000 different cuts in this video. It's, 34 minutes long, which is way too long for a first video. Yeah, it's just one sentence at a time. So, that's great. That's fantastic.
somehow managed to be both abstract and narrow. I've linked to our Twitter thread below, as sad as that sentence is, so you can make sure I'm not unfairly representing his points. So, hey buddy, what you doing? But at the end of our Battle of the Mind,
Jack is so little.
what is your definition of science? And he responds with, a major thing is you need to be able to...
Quoting some of this stuff, I get to see some of my old Twitter profiles here. Number one kiss boy at the left with the Ben Shapiro lips profile. That is, I've been on Twitter for a year now, and this was 6 months ago with 181 followers. Yeah, February. Man, I feel old just watching this.
science. And he responds with, a major thing is you need to be able to perform proper experiments. Yeah, like what? Does he know how definitions work? Like, what are the other parts? What
Hi,
constitutes
Phoenix
a proper
Fire. I
experiment?
see
You
you
have to do
there.
experiments before something is considered science? He does this a few times, just kind of.
So, hey, I want to actually hop. I'm gonna hop in general here. Phoenix Fire. Hello. How are you? Am I picking up here? Am I doing something wrong? That would be the case. Well, Phoenix, if you want to ask me a question or just chit chat, let me know.
Kind of alluding to things that are sometimes in science without ever giving like an overall view of what science is.
I was crazy
brings us to
fat
the
back
topic of-
then. I was
Sorry.
I was not
I
fat.
am
I was
here.
thick. Hey, Phoenix.
My microphone wasn't plugged in. I was like messing with the switch, and I'm like, oh, the actual thing wasn't plugged in at all. Yeah.
What's up,
Yeah.
dude? How you doing?
Good. I've only caught like 3 of your streams, but I have to say you have some incredible patience. Like when you some of the people you talk to and some of the things you say, like I don't think I would insult them, but like I don't think I've ever seen you yell. Like I'm sure you're probably internally mad, but how do you do it, man? How do you stay so calm and chill all the time?
It is honestly something. It's just kind of like who I am. Like despite the fact that I've done so many debate streams, I'm actually very conflict averse, and so while I never want to like let someone get away with something that is like really, really reprehensible, and I think I've let a little bit too much slide in the past, I just never want to like get someone else mad. I never want to get them to like run away, or I want to be seen as someone who is like listening to them, and yeah,
I
it's
gotcha.
completely me being a coward.
Yeah. So I went like I never went down the whole like anti-SJW rabbit hole like other people did because I started watching do you know who Secular Talk is? Kyle Kalinske?
Yes.
So he definitely like kept me like so I watch Sargon occasionally, but like my main channel I watched a lot was Secular Talk because I wanted news that wasn't so like Christianity is default like correct.
Mm-hmm.
And like and religion is just default right and there's no questioning it on the news, so and he did that more than like actual cable news channels, so luckily I didn't like jump down the rabbit hole.
Glad to hear it, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't think I ever
Oh,
got
another
close.
one that also kept me out was so one of my friends leaked me a video from Undoomed, and it was just so bad. Like not even like it was just so like repeat the same 3 points, have no actual argument, just complain for like 15 minutes, and I'm just like, really? Is this like the best they have? Like he's supposed to be one of the big ones that like people watch, and I'm just like, what are his points? He just says that's not the science. Complain for like 20 minutes. Like no alternative options. No like.
I was
yeah.
always impressed with the people who could just like put an avatar of themselves on stream, rant for 15 minutes, put it up, and it get thousands and thousands of views. I'm jealous of that.
Like right wing grifting is big bucks. Like like the quartering half the shit he says he doesn't even look up. Like he's like, I'm gonna complain about this comic character for 30 minutes, but then he doesn't like research the character or like at all or their history or like Marvel's woke. They're SJWs. Yeah, they've been SJWs for like fucking since the 60s. Like, like it's their message has always been. They've always had political messages for like 50 years.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It should be easy for us to like put in thoughtful content and like to counteract that, right?
Yeah.
It should be easy just to put in just a little bit of research, put some sources in the description, and like come back and counteract that. And I think that's.
Oh wow, that's another thing. Sources, man. Like, I mean, not a lot of left YouTubers use sources either, but like more of them do than right wing YouTubers. They'll link like a single like news article from like I don't know, the Guardian or something or the Washington Post, and that article won't have any sources that they link to. So just a random,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm looking at my first video now, and there are a bunch of websites linked into it, everything that I talked about in the video. And then this pisses off some people who I've talked to. I have APA-style citations of all the studies that I use, which means you can't, it's not a link, you have to actually look them up. So, but a lot of them you can't like read anyway unless you have, academic access to them. But I think it looks neat to have a bunch of APA citations in your videos. That's the pretentious
Yeah.
douchebag in me.
Yeah, sources are so important.
So you've caught a
Yeah,
few of my. Go ahead.
I watched which is the one I'm on your channel right now. I'm not watching the stream because I'm not double watching, but I watched not the last debate, the one with
Count
Count
Dankula?
Dankula comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was pretty interesting. And it it was so frustrating because he would explain how he made a joke in a tweet as a message, but then he denied that messages could be a thing simultaneously. And I'm just watching it, and I'm like, but he just said the thing that he said wasn't a thing, and yeah.
Yeah, it was really weird to hear. So we talked for 3 hours, and then I had a few of my friends on the stream to like talk about the aftermath because that's the biggest name that I've had so far on my stream and biggest name that I've debated. So I had a few of my friends on.
Yeah.
And then he got like he really wanted to get back on and talk to them. And in the first like 20 seconds of him talking to them, he like dismantled every single.
Oh yeah,
point that
you
he
guys
had.
were yelling at each other. Yeah, I had to bow out then after that. I was like, nah,
Which
I want
is
people
fair.
just screaming.
Yeah, I was. That also might be a reason that I try to stay at least somewhat quiet and calm because that is not fun to listen to.
So are you like what do you consider yourself politically?
Left.
Social Democrat, but like socialist, like full socialist, or like anarchist, or
I have no idea of what's. Every time I try to look up some of those labels, they all seem to shift on a day-to-day basis. I'm not sure. I'm more issue driven than I am ideologically driven, which seems pretentious to say.
I get you.
But I want to find out like what can we find on each individual issue? What is going to help the most people, and is there data to support it?
Yeah, I had a recent discussion with my dad about unions, and he's like, we don't need unions anymore. He's 61, so he doesn't work anymore. But it's like we don't need unions, and I've like showed him a bunch of stuff. Like as union like rates decline, the middle class income is declining, and there's constant union busting. You have Amazon doing it. Walmart will like close a store down for maintenance for like 4 months to starve out the workers. Yeah, it's just
Netflix will cancel a show if they unionize. They did that recently with like I think BoJack Horseman and I think Tuca and Birdie. I might be wrong about that second one though.
yeah.
So that's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the Count Dankula
I never
service-
understood, like, I don't know, people like worship corporations in the U.S. It's really weird.
Yeah.
Like, the free market is God and has magic powers, and I don't understand it.
yeah.
I
Me
don't
either.
understand how they convinced people to like. What's the quote? America doesn't have, or no, America doesn't have poor people; it just has temporarily embarrassed millionaires or something like that.
Something like
Yeah,
that.
you're not poor. You're going to be a millionaire soon, so you got to keep taxes, low, and it's just weird.
This is always one of those things. All of these issues, like I feel like there's so much research to be done on them, and I'm scared to have any really firm opinions on something that I haven't done weeks of research on, just because I.
Right.
So every time I make something or every time I put something out there, I want it to be like the definitive take on it because I've done so much research.
I don't know if like you're like taking video ideas, but one thing that I would love to see is I've seen a little bit of this, but Portugal and their legalization of drugs and the effect it's had on the country and the positive effects and why we should implement it in the U.S.
Portugal and the legalization of drugs? I have not heard of that.
Yeah.
Poor.
So I'm pretty sure they legalized almost everything, and from what I understood, drug use went up for like 6 months, and then went back to like slightly below the original levels, because they called it the celebratory period. Like people are trying it because it's now legal and they've never done it. So, but the thing is, although drug crimes didn't seem to go down a ton, overdose deaths did, and so did STD transmission rates, and so did so like it seems like those two things are worth it alone because like less people are dying of overdoses and less disease rates, like just less diseases are spreading. Yeah. So
When did they
I don't know,
decriminalize
it'd be
drugs?
good. I don't know. When drug decriminalization. I'm gonna look.
On Google Scholar right now.
Put in place in 2001.
2001.
Wait, no, let me look it up.
Yeah, 2001, Portugal
Because
decriminalized.
like if I think if there's one thing even most Republicans, liberals, everyone in this country could agree on, the drug war in America is an abject failure. Like
Yes.
it's like mandatory minimums and harsh punishments just aren't working. Yeah.
Yeah, I would actually be really interested in researching this. This is something that I haven't considered before. Like, I would research Portugal and research a bunch of data
Okay.
on
So
this.
they made it where it's still illegal, but there's no prison time. It's like a fine if you have less than a 10-day supply of that substance. Yeah. Of
Alright.
like everything. I think almost yeah.
Yeah, this is something interesting
Yeah,
to
they
look
didn't
up.
legalize everything; they decriminalized it. So it's not like you can't go to prison. Yeah,
All right. That's really, really interesting,
yeah.
actually.
So had no adverse effect on drug usage rates. However, drug-related pathogens like sexually transmitted disease and deaths have decreased dramatically. Right. So even if like drug usage hasn't dropped because of this, people are using safer, and less people are dying, and less disease is transmitted. Yeah.
That'd be some really interesting research to go on. Thanks, man. I might actually do some
So
research on that.
yeah, I'm on the Wikipedia page right now on drug policy of Portugal, and in 1999 they had the highest rate of HIV among users in the European Union. The number has decreased to 13.4 cases per million. It's still above the average, but it's dropped heavily. Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of what we're looking for, right? Dropping.
Yeah.
We'll see if it like goes down to average of other countries, and see if like if this is just something to take
Yeah.
away like a crisis, or if it's something that
Yeah.
should be implemented in other countries too.
Yeah. It's one of those things where like I don't know. It just harsh punishments don't seem to work. People go for like a year, 2 years. It just and then especially if it's felony, right? Because of the stigma against felons in the U.S. Once they're out of prison, they can't get a job because no one will hire a felon at good wages. So they just go back to prison because they have to be a criminal. And people are always like, well, they shouldn't have done the crime, but like maybe we shouldn't have that attitude about people who didn't do a violent crime, right?
Right.
Like if like felons are default bad, even though they didn't like beat or up someone or murder. It's just strange to me. Yeah. Plus housing. A lot of places won't rent to you if you have a felony. Like all over the U.S., they won't even let you get an apartment. So double bad.
Yeah, this is something that I would absolutely love to do a lot of research on. Like, did this help? How many? What is the imprisonment rate, and how would it be affected by decriminalization of
Yeah.
various different drugs? Yeah, and this seems like there's something that there should be a lot of scientific research on as well.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah, so it's not just something there's going to be like articles in magazines that I'll have to like scrub through. Like, no, I can have actual scientific data to support the position that I can come to.
Yeah, but this is one of the things I think more people should talk about because, yeah, I had mentioned to my dad that they legalized it, but I guess that's not true. They decriminalized it, which is still better than what we had, right?
There is a distinction between the two, and I'm
Yeah,
only
yeah, yeah,
vaguely aware of the difference between
yeah.
decriminalization
Like
and
I believe
legalization.
selling is still illegal, but you can have up to 10 days for personal use, and people aren't going to jail for it and
Enough.
like just and wasting their life in prison. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So
enough, right?
yeah, I think
Oh,
it's great. Yeah, because like even if literally all it did was drop deaths rates and STD rates, that would be enough for me to decriminalize in the U.S. Like if that's all it did, if drug use stayed the same and drug crime stayed the same, right? But less people are dying, it's a positive effect. Our effects that we have now aren't working, so like you know, it seems moving in the right direction.
yeah.
Like in Colorado, after they legalized marijuana, a lot of the cartels started really heavily pushing heroin, so heroin rates have gone up. So it seems like they weren't more. So it clearly
That's what
had some effect
I was
on
definitely
their
thinking
profit.
of.
Yeah,
What happens in states where they've
yeah.
legalized marijuana? Like, did usage rates go up, or were there any medical side effects from it? Were there any legal side effects from it? Were there any criminal side effects from it? So there's a lot of data to comb through on that, but
Well,
there's
the
it's
thing I've
a
always
very
I've come to from the
definitive
marijuana
question.
perspective is like marijuana is statistically across the board less dangerous than alcohol.
Yeah,
Like let's like drug driving, more people die from it. You're more likely to be violent on alcohol, like across the board. If you're going to have alcohol legal,
and I
any
hope not.
argument you make for marijuana would apply to alcohol.
Yeah, I have a
So
nice
it's
glass of bourbon with me right now, so there's no reason from a safety standpoint to have some of these things be legal and some of them not.
Yeah, people always like ask like if I do drugs. I don't do anything. Like I don't smoke weed or anything, but I'm still for legalization because it seems the smarter policy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to try edibles one day because I don't. I've tried cigarettes and no, I can't
You
smoke
know,
anything. No, not for me.
I tried edibles
Yeah,
once and I just fell asleep. Like
that would
immediately,
probably
just.
happen to me. Yeah.
Pew. So I don't think that's for me. But still, yeah, if I don't want people out of prison, for small drug infractions that harm no one.
Yep. I'm trying to remember how I got to your channel.
Yeah, so say you've seen a couple of the
No, I
debates I did,
think
right?
yeah. But I think I got because someone mentioned you in Twitter, like retweeted something that you did or something. I feel like that's what happened.
As
Maybe.
considering you were talking about comic books, would it possibly have been Vadim, Creationist Cat?
Maybe it might have been Legend of Phoenix,
There we go.
which is I think you know who that is probably, right?
Yes,
Okay.
one
Yeah.
of my online friends.
Yeah. Oh, you talk? Do you know Jake and Hugo? Like you talk to them
Loosely.
occasionally?
Yeah, I was
Cool.
on
Cool.
Jake's charity stream.
Well, see, they definitely also helped me keep me from falling down the rabbit hole because I was like their 3,200 subscriber. Yeah. Yeah, I've been subscribed since like month 2, probably month 3.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. I've never understood. Like, you see people in the comments like, "You guys have become full SJWs," and I'm like, "Have you not like listened to their values? For like, do you not watch their videos? It's so weird to me."
There's
Yeah.
definitely been like a dichotomy between some of the atheists
Yeah.
from early YouTube. Like it seems like a
Yeah.
pretty even split. Like I just did
see-
a video with Godless Cranium, who was one of like the old school atheist YouTubers.
Oh,
And
can you link
he's
that?
Yeah, sure.
Or I haven't seen that yet.
Godless
Yeah, I'd like to watch it. Yeah, but it's so like the anti-distributive things seem like they're scared that our
We're obviously
critique
for-
or sorry, other people's I don't usually critique this, but like the critique of these media is gonna like destroy it, and it's just like if you can realize the message of a thing doesn't mean that it's like you're destroying it if you just realize that it has a political message. It's so weird to me. Like they're coming for our comic books and our movies and our video games. It's like, are they really?
My favorite and the one that I've spent the most time in research on is political correctness and the woke left is destroying comedy. I have over an hour of content and about 25 or 30 academic sources saying that no, that's not the case.
Were you the one that talked about the what's his name said he was going to beat his kids if they were gay, or was that a different streamer?
That was on Dank. That was on the Dank.
Yeah, and it's like
that's Kevin Hart.
That's an important like he like said it like not as a joke, like it's
Yeah,
well, it didn't seem like a joke. It definitely felt mean spirited. I don't know, and I don't know. Just don't be a dick.
Yeah, just don't be a dick.
Yeah.
Red Red Drops.
Yeah.
So is Godless Cranium not? I thought he's been around for a few years.
Well, he's been for at least a couple years. Yeah, at least 2 years, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess. Yeah. Let's see. 2 years.
I watch to watch a lot of the atheist YouTubers, except I don't like Godless Engineer. I just don't find his content for me. But that's about the only one.
I haven't watched any of his stuff yet. I just followed him. Yeah, it looks like oldest thing is about 3 years ago. Yeah, I guess I was wrong there. It depends on what you consider old school and new school. So
Yeah,
I might be wrong there. But when I think old school, I think that's like what a lot of his content is addressing like religious arguments. So that when I think old school is not necessarily being old, but like the way you go about things.
One thing I like a lot of the like the Christian fundamentalism, it heavily impacts our politics, and you have a lot of like liberals who are, I don't know, they seem to like be okay with the status quo of like these arguments. Like they don't believe in God, but they like don't challenge other people's assumptions about God either. It just seems odd to me. Like they're like writing policies based on these beliefs that you could clearly argue are like logically inconsistent.
Yeah.
But they don't seem to care. It's really weird. It's like the healthcare thing, like universal healthcare. Pretty much every other first world nation has it. Like Canada, Japan, Australia, UK, Denmark, like, but somehow it's been argued as like this evil thing in America, like it's socialism, when when it's like the default position of other countries.
Yeah.
Like it's the centrist position.
There
It's-
is
it's-
something to be said about political correctness there, and my definition of political correctness is you doing something not necessarily because it's the thing that you believe in, but because you don't want to upset or offend people in order to gain favor from them.
Yeah.
So if it continues to be that universal health care is unpopular and that you're not likely to get reelected if you endorse it, it will continue to not be endorsed. So there needs to be some people out there who's willing to put that at risk in order for that to be a viable policy that we can start to advocate for.
Yeah.
And it's
Well,
in large
I
part
think
happened.
one of the things that I've been mentioning to my friends is we need some Democrat, AOC, or someone to come up with a bill for every child from birthday to 18 to give universal health care, and really heavily emphasize like the Democrats come at it from a Christian perspective, and then when the Republicans argue against it like hypocrites, right? You could bring up, aren't you pro-life? Like I think we could get that passed, honestly. Universal health care for like just expand Medicaid to cover everyone 1 to 18. Just do that like tomorrow. Like I genuinely think argue from like the religious perspective and the moral perspective, right? Because they're going to use like religious arguments. They use it all the time for other things. So that's how I would go at it.
Yeah, I don't think I disagree
Yeah.
with any of that.
Yeah.
Well, so what else have you seen of mine? You've seen the debate with Dankula.
Oh, I saw the like meme trans activists destroy with facts and logic.
Yes.
That video was great. The video was great.
That's by far the one that's performed the best on my channel.
Yeah, it was great.
It's the
Oh,
one
I
that-
saw the genetic claim to land with that
Ray Mursami. The
liberal,
leftist,
the
ethnostatist.
leftist ethnostater. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one I was worried the most about. But man, she has essentially a white nationalist position.
Yeah, but like reverse.
Yeah, like reverse.
Like
Reverse-
like whites are bad default because they're white. Like you're just being racist. Like
And like if you are have grown up, if your ancestry grew up in a certain place, that means that you're going to value certain things more. It's like straight up race realism.
yeah. Well, I occasionally watch Vosh, which I'm sure you've heard of Vosh. He's a little more extreme. He's for violent revolution, so that tells you something right there. But like I legit watched him debate a Nazi that used almost the same arguments, like an actual like you know, kick everyone out, deport them, lock the borders down, white nationalists. And I was just kind of laughing in my head. I'm like, do these people? And then he argued from the like they were like, well, see, they're white European, and then it was like, what's your arbitrary cutoff date, right?
Yeah.
Of when like you move, you know, do you have to live there for 1,000 years, 2,003? It just is so odd.
Every single question that you would stump a white nationalist stumped her.
Yeah.
That's what I was like legitimately concerned about.
Yeah.
So hold on. From that debate, it's only going to be on stream here. If I want to play just a little bit of a clip from,
I think you can kind of agree that oftentimes we have more in common and we.
Oh, let's not play that at 2 times speed.
Uh,
I want to play this.
I think you can kind of agree that oftentimes we have more in common and we value our relationships more beyond our familiar bonds, beyond our genetic links. Like we find comfort in friends and community outside of our family. Do you think that could happen?
I'd be a little skeptical, but I mean, who knows? I mean, it's difficult to say. But I mean,
How is your position different? How is
really
someone?
an argument against having?
No, because this is the exact same argument a racist is going to make: is how is a brown person going to hold all of my values? They're brown. That is the exact same argument. How is your position fundamentally different than theirs?
How is my position fundamentally different from that? It isn't.
I think you.
Yeah, so I don't know if you heard that. If you're not watching the stream, you
Yeah.
definitely didn't. It's an unlisted video. It's not up there, but it's basically her saying, like, me asking her, so how is you saying that someone who is of a different quote-unquote race than me, they can't hold my values and we can't like coexist together? How is that different from a racist position or a white nationalist position?
Well,
And she says it isn't.
Well, one of the things I didn't hear her go at it from an IQ perspective, which is generally much more of a Nazi view.
Yeah.
They'll go, but then when you account for nutrition and poverty, you find that like people who are poor and get poor nutrition tend to have lower IQs, whether they're white or black. Like the southern, large chunks of the southern U.S. have an like average of like 10 to 15 point lower IQ, whether they're white or black. You know, so it's not. It clearly seems much more environmental than like this like race realism bullshit.
Yeah. We talked a lot about race realism too. Like I tried to talk to her about like not genetic clusters, but FST values, fixation index values, and she didn't want to talk about any of that. She wanted to talk about how, you know, it was great.
Yep. Yeah, like the genetic variances between like black populations in Africa is more than like white people across Europe or something like that.
I'm aware of this study. So one study said that if you take any two black people in Africa, it's more likely that they're more different from each other than they are from a white person in Europe. Yeah. If I understood that study correctly. And so yeah, race realism is not real, oddly enough. Let me ask you something. This is a Q&A. It doesn't have to be one way.
Okay.
What kind of do you prefer? I know this is a weird question, but what do you prefer? Do you prefer like debate streams or content created on its own?
A debate for some people. It depends on the person. Like, I think that you should. Like, I genuinely believe you shouldn't platform some people.
Yeah.
Because like, they shouldn't get income because their ideas should be paid for. Yeah. But it depends. Like, if you want to debate, you know. Most people, that's fine. It would really depend. Yeah, like I wouldn't generally debate the core ring because he has nothing of value. He has no opinions of his own. All of his opinions, he's a grifter, and all his opinions are paid for.
It's amazing watching people debate him though, because he acquiesces so much and he walks back many of his.
He clearly has no real. Oh, my alarm's going off. I don't know why it's set for this time, but yeah, he clearly like. I'd say a large chunk of his views aren't his own views. He just does it to get income. Yeah. And it's
I tried as hard as I could to get him to agree to some sort of discussion, but he doesn't do scheduled debates. He just does hater streams where his friends show up.
Who's the debate he did where he deleted like right after?
One of my friends, Logic Guy, did that. Like he went on to one of those hater streams and he deleted the video right afterwards.
Yeah, it's so like intellectually dishonest, you know?
Yeah. Big Joel, you can he did a debate with Big Joel, and Big Joel like
maybe that was the one. That was the one, I think.
Yeah. It's on Twitch. You have to look for it, but it is on Twitch, and there's it is saved some places. He did one with he like backed out of one with Destiny, and then it's like he got so much flack for it that he went on with it. And when you talk to him in real life, he doesn't have the same opinions that he does when he is in his videos. So it's very obviously a grift. He's very obviously saying things to get money, and it works.
It does, man. Like, look at Peterson and Shapiro and their like Patreons. They're just rolling in dough. Peterson's one of those like I never even like watched him until I saw him debate Matt Dillahunty and a few people, and he has. Like, he says these things that are very vague. He's very, like, his vagaries irritate me. Like, when they asked, do you think Jesus was divine? Obviously, Matt meant that in the colloquial sense, as, like, Christians believe. He's like, depends on what you mean by divine. He's so smarmy and, like, super vague. Like, there's a couple stuff he's specific about, but he's super vague about so much that it's really hard to pin him down.
Oh, yeah.
And he can say a contradictory statement later, but the first one was so vague it's hard to call him on it.
Yeah. Red Venture, are you looking to decide between the two options going forward with your channel, talking about debating and original content? I like original content. I like writing things. I like doing a lot of research for like making stuff, and I like doing that little bit of pseudo acting.
Yeah, I thought you're like pretending to be like the right wing chud was hilarious.
Thanks,
in
I
that
appreciate
video. It was great.
Yeah, it was fun. I like that little bit of pseudo acting, but honestly, I put almost as much research into some of the debates that I've done in the past. Probably about half as much into the debates that I've done because I want to perform well. So both of them take time. Like the debates that I've done aren't just a frivolous affair where I just show up, and the ones that I've done less prep for, I don't feel as good about.
Definitely.
Oh, and we're talking to
prep seems to be very important.
And we're talking to Phoenix Fire, who's in
the Discord channel, and anyone is welcome to.
Yeah,
come
have some
in.
other people get in here and ask some questions for sure.
Yeah, anybody else who wants to come in here, ask me questions live. Here is the Discord link again.
Was your family religious?
Yes.
Or wait, I think I remember you saying that. Sorry.
Yeah,
that's-
they were very religious, very conservative, very rural. So I grew up in Eastern Kentucky. So yeah, grew up in
I
a
have
literal
question.
trailer.
So I've actually had a few differing opinions from different leftists on this. Liberals are against calling them concentration camps. Most of the leftists think they should be called. What's your opinion on the whole kids in cages thing?
Yeah.
Should we call them concentration camps?
Oh yeah, that easy one there.
Okay,
there.
good. I mean, I believe so as well, but I've actually heard a couple people argue that we should, at best, call them prisons. Yeah.
Yeah, they're the camps where people are concentrated and they're targeted based on a certain characteristic. I don't think it's unfair to call them that.
Well, see, an argument I brought up with someone who I don't know super well, but is like even like Jeffrey Dahmer and like John Wayne Gacy, right? If they go to prison, we give them like toothbrushes and blankets and a bed, right?
Right.
Whether you think we should or not, we do those things. So the idea that these kids can't have those same amenities is just ridiculous to me. We give them to literal serial killers who have murdered dozens. We can't give a kid a blanket. Like,
yeah.
I
cannot believe that people are actually defending those camps and the conditions that it doesn't have to be kids. Like grown adults deserve that some sort of respect.
Same.
Yeah. Red Venture, I think I agree with you. Like I'm more proud of the some of the videos that I put out, and I put so much effort into, especially some of the comedy ones and the trans one, the trans activist one. So yeah, I think that is a better way to get information out, mostly just because you can kind of control it a lot more. But I do think debates are very, very interesting in formulating arguments against people who, like formulating like live arguments against real people, because it's it's very hard. Not because when you're not talking to someone, you almost have to straw man. You can bring up points from them. You can as best as you can. But if they can't respond in real time, it's a different experience, and I really enjoy both. So I want to definitely continue to do both.
Another thing, like there's a couple different people that I would like, even if I was a YouTuber, I wouldn't debate, like Hovind.
Who?
Because Ken Hovind.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, because like when he goes in the debate, he has a list of talking points. He says those talking points, waits for you to finish speaking, and then says more talking points. He never engages in answers. He's one of the most like Ben Shapiro is pretty disingenuous, but I would put Ken Hovind as even more disingenuous.
Yeah.
Like he's had the science explained to him probably thousands of literal times, and he just like continues to use the same lies that he's like specifically told they're lies and explained how they're lies, and the next debate he'll just use them again. He'll just ignore it, like very clearly. Like it's just so irritating. Yeah.
Yeah.
Young Earth creation is harmful. I genuinely believe it's harmful to society.
I helped Vadim of Creationist Cat. I helped him debate for prep for a debate about Noah's Ark, and every single point like that was brought up, they have a set list of talking points that they don't want to deviate from, and they can't. Yeah. And a lot of their claims that they make is like, you can't falsify this, you can't prove this wrong, and therefore it's right. Like it could have happened if you ignore, like if you take like the most extreme example, if you take about 50 different extreme hypotheticals, like 1 in a million chances, if all those happened at once, then it could have happened.
Well,
which is frustrating.
It's kind of funny, but so I grew up religious, like as default. I was in foster care a lot, and I didn't get internet till I moved out and paid for it on my own. So like I had quote unquote education, like public school, but I couldn't go like just look something up unless I went to the library. So, and I wanted to learn, and I didn't like go looking to like debunk religion. I like biology and entomology, and like I remember looking up how like insects and bat wings are like and bird wings are different, like and that got me into evolution and what's it called, where divergent evolution, or no, where two things evolve the same thing, like insects both in different lineages.
Convergent evolution.
Convergent evolution, yeah, and stuff like that, and then I got to the whole Noah's Ark thing, which Noah's Ark was one of those things I never really believed in, just because not even from like a logic standpoint, it just sounded like dumb to do, right? Like from a practicality standpoint, it just seems really dumb. Like if I'm omnipotent and I want to kill everything, like drowning is such a like long, drawn out,
Terrible way to
unnecessary
do
way to
it,
kill
right?
everything.
Yes.
Yeah, just like dude, just Thanos snapped him, or just like
Thanos
you
snap
know,
him, yeah.
yeah, it. I don't know. Yeah, but and that led me to like a lot of science channels like SciShow and PBS Space Time and stuff like that, and those led me early from religion farther. I would say between getting internet when I turned 18 and me being like a full atheist was probably less than a year. Yeah,
Yeah,
probably less than 6 months. Yeah,
it can happen pretty quickly for some people.
yeah.
Like, I think I became an atheist. Well, it started in middle school with one question. Basically, like we learned about different. We learned in I forgot what class it was. It might have been geography. That people have different religions, and when someone said, "Well, why are they different religions? We're the right one," and the teacher said, "Well, they think they're right too," that like planted that seed of doubt.
Exactly right. I flirted with Buddhism for like maybe a month, and then I was like, nah, this isn't necessary.
My husband is flirting with either Buddhism or Wiccan, just to try
Cool.
something out, just to have some sort of like life like directive.
I've been thinking about going to a UU church, Unitarian Universalist or whatever,
Okay.
just for like community, because they like it's like Christian themed, but like you don't have to be a Christian, right? So
Yeah.
yeah,
I've heard
It's-
a lot
it's
of
very
churches
much-
like that.
yeah.
So, yeah, I can see people doing that, and that's
Well, like there's nothing about like going to hang out with a group of people and like sing songs on Sunday that has to be religious,
Yeah,
like
of course not.
explicitly.
yeah,
And I think if there's one thing churches do really well is community programs, right? If there's
Yeah.
one thing that I'd say that churches do better than some areas, you know, because there's just so many churches. Like even if you have like a decently sized atheist population in your small town, the chance that they're all going to get together is very low and like have like a program, you
Yeah.
know, to do. Yeah,
it's hard to organize people based on like what they're against.
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
The thing I don't understand. Like, okay, I can get like maybe like atheists like that are like slightly center right, but this like atheist like hard right wing like that vote for Trump. I don't understand it. Maybe maybe they were just like were like bought into the bullshit, but it just seems so much like fear mongering. Like I don't know. Maybe I just assume that most atheists at least like are more humanist than some other moral standard. I don't know.
it's
you know
really
what I mean?
weird.
Like
So, do you know who Gadsad is?
no, but the video you linked that's him, right? Yeah.
Right. He's
Yeah.
really, really, really similar to Jordan Peterson. He's like Jordan Peterson with an accent, a backstory, and just a little bit, it's just a little bit less popular. But we did a video on him, and I did so much research. So much research on Gadsad, and he's willing to sit in front of he's willing to sit and listen to a creationist tell him that, well, of course the human was designed. If you look at the human eye, it was obviously designed, and
The
therefore,
human eye's such bullshit.
yeah, and
It's terrible.
therefore, like the only right way to go about things is to be a cis het person and like man with woman, and that's it. That's the correct way to do things because we were designed that way. He's willing to sit and listen to that, even though he's an atheist, because it hurts the people that he is against. All the quote unquote postmodernists still don't know what they're on about there.
Yeah, it's like I never understood like atheists who genuinely don't believe in God
Yeah.
who vote Republican because like they're like default supporting religious fundamentalism in the U.S. because like okay, this is me to sound I don't know if this sound a little weird, but like it's true that not all Republicans are Nazis, but Nazis always vote Republican.
Right.
Right, so like clearly like if all the like young earth creationists and like literal Nazis are voting for the Republicans, like why do you think that is? What about their values appeal to these extremists that like liberals don't, right? You know what I mean? Like so
I've
you
heard
think they're
I've heard some really good
Yeah.
arguments talking about, like, especially like, so if you can argue, it's, I don't have a really good answer for this because it's complicated, and not all of a certain type of atheists, not all of them went to the right, but a lot of them did, and it's really it'd be really interesting for me to like delve deeper into like the
I
reasoning
don't
and
understand why,
psychology.
because like it just if Republicans if the Republican like end goal is to support religious fundamentalists and their end goal is to install theocracy, why would you vote for Republicans? Like even moderate Republicans are like still super like against your rights. Like they don't want atheists in office. They don't want like you to be able to vote, some of them. So it just seems super odd to me. Shoot, some Democrats don't want atheists in office. Some of your more like middle of the road yeah, so
Yeah. Oh,
it's
that's especially if they're older.
yeah, it just seems so freaking weird. Like I'm gonna vote Republican, but like they literally don't want me to like be a citizen and have rights.
Which is great, right? It makes so much sense, and we're all super excited about it.
Yeah, I think a lot of them are like younger, like under 25, and they just don't. I don't know. Like
I want to get down and talk
I had a
to all
discussion
these
the other day
people.
with someone who like unironically, I was mentioning like drone strikes and like the Trump administration, and he brought up Obama as like a gotcha moment. Like Obama did drone strikes, true, and I'm like, yeah, but that's also bad. Like
Yeah, that's also bad, right?
like they seem like we like default have to like just like bow down to our candidate and just like not question them when it's like no, I can also disagree with this like Democratic policies. It's so strange to me that like if you bring up a bad thing a Republican's doing, they're just like no Democrats did this thing, and it's like yeah, but we can criticize the
Something that's-
tribalism.
Yeah,
like-
something that I struggle a lot with. The tribalism is bad, but tribalism is also effective, and that's terrifying to
is.
me. Like,
Yes, it
I
is.
worry about that a lot. Like, it's effective, and like, if you want to, there's a
don't
big
know.
discussion on the left going now about like being like true to your principles and being pragmatic and getting things done. And there's a big pull there. Like, how much of your principles are you willing to forego in order to affect meaningful change? And I don't know if there's definitely not a perfect right answer there. And it's a really tough decision to have, like, because any time, like, keeping the status quo is always going to be easier. It's always going to be easier to hold on to people.
It is for sure.
Because if only 15% of the people are doing like really horrible, it's really easy for the other 85% to say like, hey, I'm not doing that bad, so it's okay for me to like suffer just a little bit, because to keep what I have. I don't want to try this new thing that I might lose, because we're more loss oriented than we are, gain oriented.
Do you think libertarians, like as a large chunk, are more of an American thing? Like when I say libertarian, I'm referring to like repeal the EPA and all regulations because it'll magically fix itself. Because I don't like I occasionally hear that from like British YouTubers crazy, but it seems a very American thing, and I don't understand how it's latched on. Like, do people not know like what the Clean Air Act was, or why the EPA was implemented, or like what industrial revolution led to like smog blankets all over the?
I need
It's just so like
I need to pull this up.
it's so odd to me. Like people are literally dying from like the poison water, but they'll just regulate themselves. Why though? Well, because they'll have a competitor, and see the competitor if they don't regulate. And people die, well, then they'll go to the competitor. And I'm like, yeah, but people still died. Like, and why? And if they both agree to dump and there's no other competitors, you can't do anything. Like, it's such an odd, like, ideology. I just don't understand it. Like, corporations don't have your best interest at heart. Like, governments, like, a lot of times don't either, but corporations, like, they think they do by default. Like, you're the consumer, so they're just gonna be good. They're just gonna make you the best product, right?
Yeah.
But if like two corporations, like we see this in America with internet duopolies, right? Where you'll have two service providers in a city, and they'll like cut up little fiefdom where they're like, hey, we won't offer it over there, you don't offer it over here, and we'll both just get profits, right? And
my next video is on capitalism and the American higher educational system, and I'm doing a ton of research on the topic. I've already bought 2 books on it, and they're this might surprise you. They're not actually a very fun read.
Yeah, I would.
But I'm getting a lot of information on it. I happen to be in classes with them, and it is.
Are you going to college right now?
Yes, I'm in a master's degree for biomechanics.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm an old master
Oh,
student, but
do you like? Would you need to go into biomechanics to research prosthetics? Would that be a
yes,
thing that would help that?
yeah.
Oh,
One
cool.
of
There's
my
some really cool prosthetics technology coming
oh
out.
yeah,
Like,
one of
I
my
followed, yeah,
friends is his focus is in prosthetics.
awesome. Like, it's so useful. It reminds me of that person who they restored sight to a few years ago. Like, it's black and white or whatever, but they like put like cameras or whatever, and they weren't. I don't think they were born blind, but they like restored their sight. It's really awesome. Ooh, I got a kind of a random, like not even like super political topic, but what do you I think people will, but what's your opinion on people removing limbs, like transhumanism, like removing limbs for efficiency's sake, like, yeah.
I have not thought about that at all.
Well,
But
like if we can develop prosthetics as good as human limbs that also can feel, and and this is going to sound weird, but the more body mass you have, the higher chance of cancer you have. Like, fat people statistically have higher chance of cancer. So there could be an argument that you could remove both your arms and legs to have less chance of dying of cancer, assuming the prosthetics were equally as good. Yeah.
oh, so it's been a little bit of a meme from the people who hate me, but right now my moral philosophy that I've done the most research in that makes the most sense to me is the minimizing human suffering. And so yeah,
Yeah.
if you can prove to me that like transhumanism, like if that makes people's lives better, if that reduces risk of disease, if that reduces the risk of people suffering, yeah, I'm all for it.
Yeah, transhumanism is going to be one of them. Like, once we get prosthetics that can like directly hook into the nerves, right? So you can like actually feel stuff. It's going to be it's extraordinary. Because what do you do when this is going to sound like, so let's say China over there, right? And their authoritarian regime, they're cutting their arms and legs off their soldiers because like it makes them faster and stronger, right? How do you compete? Like, assuming you have some authoritarian regime using this technology, like, that assuming it works, it's very interesting to think about how, because unfortunately a lot of the military push a lot of innovation, so they're gonna definitely be using this technology before it gets into civilian hands, and it's kind of scary,
Red, to answer your question, I have the a history of American higher education, the 3rd edition of it, and I bought Tuition Rising, Why College Costs So Much. I found that at a secondhand bookstore, and I read the first chapter, and I needed to hear it. It's old. It's from 2002, so the information is outdated, but I think it gives a lot of like a snapshot into how tuition was already starting to rise close to 20 years ago. A lot of like the reasons and reasoning of it. So it was a good buy for cheap.
I don't know. Imperialism is definitely an issue in combined with capitalism. Like, we have all the South America coups we did, that America like went over and assassinated democratically elected leaders, and it's why that I like, anytime a Republicans like support the troops, I'm it just sickens me, because like, no, they're clearly a tool of imperialist oppression, and I don't say that like ironically, like literally, it's a thing that we do, and we need to stop doing it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, we have the whole issue with like the Cuban sanctions, the sanctions with Venezuela that have like with medicine that have like literally killing people, and
there's
like,
so much. There's so much that I haven't researched. There's so much like I am absolutely garbage at history. It's not something that interests me at all, which is why this book is such a slog. Yeah, it's something that it needs to interest me because it's enormously important, but it's never been something that I would go forward on my own. It's always something that I would have to like research tangentially related to something else. And so like there's so much world history that I don't know, and there's
yeah. Yep. I'm not like super. I don't say I'm like interested in history as like a specific country, but I'll look up like random people and like learn their history and stuff like that. But I'm generally not like a big, like, if you want me to like look up research like a specific political figure from the past, that's easy for me. But if you want me to look up like the history of like Louisiana, I'll just get super bored. Yeah.
it's
Yeah, people are much more interesting than like larger like individuals are more interesting for me for sure.
Yeah, I'm always interested in data. Like, what is the most recent data on this topic? Say, like, how many, like, how can I take a bunch of different studies that are done recently and put them in some sort of coherent narrative? That's
Well,
usually
see, just a few months ago, I was one of them like I wasn't a quote unquote a supporter of trans rights or unsupported. I was just like, let them do what they want. But I didn't really like. Anytime I heard rhetoric against them, I just didn't really think it was my fight. But now that I've seen the data on how like using the incorrect pronouns leads to higher suicidality, and like it actually harms people when you're being like a dick to them, like you know, don't do that.
in a lot of the lies.
So
Yeah. So what got me into making YouTube videos was Ben Shapiro's comments on the Joe Rogan show, and how everything, despite him being apparently one of like the greatest minds of the right, how he was exactly wrong
cut
about
out.
every single.
Hello?
Sorry. Hello.
You cut out. You said I have the greatest minds of
The right. So Ben Shapiro was apparently
Yeah.
the greatest mind of the right,
supposedly.
and despite that, he got every single thing wrong about every source that he's ever cited about trans people. Not just
Yeah.
a little bit wrong, but exactly wrong. And so that's what made him.
Well, yeah, they keep like citing this one study apparently from Sweden, which I think you even brought that up.
Yep.
And they cited that for like 10 years, even though it's a single study. And there's like another thing that I've learned recently, meta-analysis, which you helped me learn what that meant and how you like research studies of studies, like and like 10 or 12 or 15 studies, what the average data of those says, and it clearly points to a different conclusion than that Sweden study.
Yeah. And the conclusion of the Sweden study, even within that same study, if you actually read the study, it doesn't say what a lot of the right wingers say.
Wasn't
says.
it like from the 80s though, when like surgeries were a lot more dangerous?
Yep.
Isn't it? Yeah.
The
So
data
it's
was
not even, like,
collected
modern.
from I think 1970. It's hard for me to remember off the top end. 1975, I think, to 2001.
Yeah.
And they even cite improved medical care as a reason that some of the statistics for trans people got better after a time. Like I think after 1989, these same statistics that showed increased suicidality got a lot lower because improved societal attitudes and increasing quality of medical care. So
Yeah.
that was the thing.
I don't know. It's just so weird to me. Like we a lot of issues, man. Like I don't get how they convinced America, like the propaganda machine convinced America that unions were bad. I just don't understand it. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I've never, like, even when I jumped down the like anti-SJW rabbit hole a little bit, I never was gonna vote conservative, even when I was like watching those videos, because it just seemed like even I knew that like civil rights was the liberals winning, like the 8-hour work week, like the abolition of child labor laws, right? Like all of those were progressive ideals, and if the conservatives had their way, we'd still have like kids getting their arms ripped off in factories that they worked in for 13 hours, so it just seems odd to me that, like, yeah.
So much stuff seems odd to me. I can't make sense of like 99% of the information that I come across. I'm really uncomfortable making any like hard declarative statements on things that I haven't done a lot of research on, which is hurting my internet presence. But
What's your opinion? Okay, so Vosh made an interesting argument about states' rights and how states' rights is just a code word to implement racism, right? So like he brought up that like if you want segregation, you make it a states' rights issue, and statistically, some states are going to choose to like implement segregation. So like if you're like saying states' rights, then you are like tacitly arguing for racism. Same with
if you want it to be a state's issue and you want it to be not illegal, you are tacitly arguing for it. Yes, you're saying that it should be up to the individual to decide that.
Yeah, and some of them are going to have it be a thing, so you're basically advocating, at that point. Yeah.
You're saying that you're okay that happening is a better alternative to that forced to be not happening.
Yeah.
I think the biggest The biggest
I
separation
wonder
of left
what
and
you know.
right.
Honestly, I wonder what would have happened in the '60s if that had been a thing, and then like black people just fled in mass from the South, right?
We'd have
And
to,
just
yeah.
didn't. And because I guarantee they still would. They like. Okay, so blacks, or African Americans. I don't know. Is it okay to say blacks? I've heard different things, but uh, generally tend to vote Democrat. But I guarantee you, if segregation was like an actual thing, they would there would be almost no black people voting for Republicans. You know. So
There's
would
already,
more
yeah, there's
elections have
already
been?
almost none.
Yeah, yeah.
I
But
think
I bet it. You know,
it'd be even
it's
lower.
yeah, definitely. Yeah,
My biggest
yeah.
separation, from what I've noticed between the left and the right, is the left value uh, helping in the reduction of suffering more, and the right
Yeah, like
value
empathy.
the right
It
empathy
sounds
more.
condescending. It genuinely sounds condescending. But Republicans tend to have lower empathy. There was a study done that showed they had higher disgust responses to like gay people or whatever. Like they felt disgust more viscerally
Yep.
and more often to more things.
That conservatives
that-
are more likely to feel disgust at
Yeah.
things. They have a higher tuned disgust factor, and that's why I think like they value personal like individual freedom. They put that on a higher priority versus empathy for other people. That's the biggest separation between left and right that I've been able to find.
Yeah, red in the chat. Yeah, that happened. But I'm saying like if segregation was a thing, do you think any black people would stay in that state? Like if let's say 3 or 4 states made it a thing in the 60s, 1969 or whatever, what wouldn't you just leave? Like even if you're poor, you do the best you could to just leave, like in mass. Like there'd be no black people left in the country.
It'd be tough.
Yeah. And in the state, yeah, that's what I meant. That's what I would do. Like if if my state was like, let's legalize segregation, and I'm a black American, I'm moving. I'm getting the heck out. Yeah, definitely. Yep. So how long are you gonna be streaming for?
Until I'm tired.
Okay.
I was gonna hop on Gushin's stream a little bit later too.
Do you? I'm curious. Do you play the video games?
I do, well, very rarely now.
Okay.
Because I'm I'm in
Do
school.
you like survival horror games?
Oh yes, very much so. I have Outlast is one of my favorite games. Resident Evil 7 is one of my favorite games.
Want to hear me gush about Dead Space? It's one of my favorite games of all time. It's the first Dead Space. So
we'll try to keep it on we'll try to keep it on top because this is going to be saved.
Okay.
But I do like Dead Space quite a bit.
It's great. Well, see, one of the first like quote unquote survival horror I ever played that was a like graphically decent was Resident Evil 4.
Yes, that's
And
my favorite game of all
I-
time.
It's definitely in my top 10, and I beat Resident Evil 4 6 times, 100%, like everything done. And Dead Space is clearly riffing on Resident Evil 4.
Oh, of
like
course.
the influence is clear as day,
Yeah.
and it's just so good. Like I think my own like it's my 9.9 out of 10 game. My only issue is the final boss was terrible. Like the final boss in Dead Space 1 is just not good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was it. Like the rest of the game was near perfect.
Is
Yeah.
Dead Space on Steam? Do you?
Yes. Yes.
I
It
might
is.
get that for. Hold
You
on. Let's
should-
see. Store.
I was just playing it. I played some literally 2 days ago. It's so good. Yeah. Yeah, 1 and
much
2
is
are.
it?
I don't think 3 is. 3 is only on Origin.
It's $20
Yeah, but it goes on sale for like $7.50 all the time, like once a month. Yeah.
once a month. It's man.
Oh,
That's a
Yeah.
12-year-old game. Oh, well, that's an 11-year-old game. And it's
yeah.
still
2008.
20
yep.
I can't. Yeah. Grad student salaries don't pay for much.
Yeah, but I would love to see a video from you on drug decriminalization in America.
I'm gonna actually write a note on that drug decriminalization over here.
Yeah, and how, for one thing, I would look into Colorado and how like minimum sentencing would be a big thing to discuss on that, and also bills proposed by private prisons to increase minimum sentencing and the relation of that to drugs, like how they're like interconnected, how private prisons like suggest bills to have more people go to them that are drug related, because the private prisons don't violent prisoners. I know it sounds weird, but like they don't want violent people because they're running a for-profit business. If they have like a inmate kill another inmate, that costs them a lot of money. Yeah, they want your like average everyday drug users for like a year to work to be their slave labor. They don't want like your murderers going to their prisons.
So this will be a decent time to talk about like how I do research for videos. So usually what I do, I'll write up a really rough outline of what I want to say about something because I've already done a little bit of research into it. I've already thought about it a little bit, and I take it the old school like English teacher way of designing essays. Like you have a core thesis you want to present, and then you have 3 to 5. It is 3 or 5 because four flows weird. 3 or 5 supporting points, and then everything has to feed into those points, and those points all have to feed into the thesis. So if I did research for drug decriminalization, I would have to like structure it in such a way that there was a coherent narrative from start to finish.
Yeah, but the one thing I would definitely bring up is like the like I said, the private prison relation to them pushing bills that relate to drug users to get them to go to their prisons, and how that's like clearly a cycle that is an issue.
Yeah, that's the hardest part about videos. Like, there's a lot of the videos that I've made, about half the research that I do isn't used because it doesn't fit into the thesis of the video. Even if it's good information and it's true and it could make a really good point, if it doesn't feed into the overall thesis of the video that I want to push, it can't go in. So I had to cut out a lot of I've had to cut out a lot of work that ended up being wasted to make a coherent script. For one video, for like my humor and morality video, I actually hired an editor, who happened to be my friend.
It sucks that you can't just pull a Destiny.
Destiny.
Like, where he just like debates people and doesn't like look up. He may look up like one thing on Google on stream and just goes off the cuff so much. And like, I get that he's a lot of like people's gateway into like liberalism, but man, does he have some bad takes.
Yeah,
like,
I will.
But they're not like bad takes that like I feel like he's maliciously making. Like, I don't think he's making these bad takes because he's like being dishonest. I think he just doesn't do any research. He hardly ever seems to like research anything. He just like streams and says shit, and then someone responds. He's like, "No, I don't think so." And like, he never, goes and checks.
I will admit to Destiny being my like inspiration to get into YouTubing. Like, my Twitter handle is SJW Debates, and he was a big reason for that because I was watching a lot of his streams.
Like, I bet you trigger a lot of right wingers. Like, they're like,
I try.
You need to get. Oh no, I think this would actually push people away from coming on. But like the purple hair. Like, apparently, if you have colored hair, your arguments are invalid because reasons.
Chat, would I look good in purple hair? We'll see.
Like your arguments are invalid. Your hair is a different color. Like, what? Well, your shoes are blue. Like, it's just such a stupid. It's such a. That's an ad hominem, right? Would that be an ad hominem? Yeah.
Attacking their character rather than their arguments.
Yeah.
That's the definition of an ad hom.
Yeah.
Have you seen? Because right now my big kick is comedy. It's a new pronoun in profile. I think it's even more classic than pronouns in profile. It's even more classic than that general line. Have you seen? So right now my big kick is comedy. By any chance, have you saw the debate with Dankula?
That's the one. Yeah.
Yeah, did you see either of the videos I made on comedy?
I think I saw one of them. Let me go to your channel, which I'm on. Just gotta go over here. Why did you pick Jangle's Science Lad? By the way,
it was a throwaway joke. So the very first debate I did online, it's not on. I didn't have a YouTube channel then, so it's not. I think I have a downloaded copy of it somewhere. But it was with Liberal Sanity Project, who was in the chat earlier, who's one of my best friends online, over some like Twitter drama that he got into. And I wanted to make a fake name, for a different, like, I made an entirely new Gmail account just so I can go on to his Google Hangouts with a fake name. And for whatever reason, I picked Jangles Glimpo because it uses the first letters of my first and last name, because my first name is Justin. So I used Jangles Glimpo. and Django stuck, and I wanted to have something after it, so I went Science Lad because that's the kind of content that I was most interested in producing. Like I want to have a lot of scientific citations when I make, so I went with Django Science Lab. SJW debates was something I came up at 3 a.m. while drunk. So
Okay. Yeah, I generally only drink on my birthday and occasionally at Christmas. Yeah. But I don't know. I've been thinking about trying like some cocktails because I've never drank like a mixed drink. Well, okay, technically that's not true. I've had vodka and orange juice, which is technically a mixed drink.
what I would
yeah.
recommend is become a hardened alcoholic so that you don't need mixers.
Well, I don't know if you've ever watched the YouTube channel How to Drink.
How to drink? I have not watched that because
Oh,
I
they're
already
great.
know.
You should go.
They should take notes from me.
They make super engaging videos about different cocktails, even like ones he just makes up from like Fallout, and just it's great. You should literally check them out. They're great. Yeah.
You know what, General Line? You have a good idea. I'm gonna go refill my drink. So y'all, yeah, think of some questions. Ask me questions about any of the videos that I've done, any like the research processes.
I'm looking at your. I've only watched the Debate with Sinatra Says. I like a little bit of debate with Harlan Rogers, like 3 minutes of it. The debate with Dank Science and the comedy rhetoric, and those 3 videos, the only ones I've watched so far. And I watched half of the debate with Ray Murasama.
Oh, so you've been mostly like debate focused on my channel, right? So there is at least a few people who are drawn into the debates, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoy both and want to keep doing both. And
well, depends. Like I probably like if you debated like Ken Hovind or Ken Ham, I probably wouldn't watch it because I've seen like debate people that either haven't done a ton or debate them about a topic they haven't debated. Like I don't want to like no offense, but I don't want to see you debate like religious stuff.
No,
because it's been done to death. Everyone's debated like Ken Hovind. Everyone's debated like all this religious stuff, and it's something. Frankly, I consider it solved. Like if
yeah, something I'm.
I don't know, but like it's probably like I can't read other people's minds, and I realize people have personal. But if you don't have a personal experience story, then I think you're only a Christian or religious out of ignorance because you genuinely don't know like the science and like the information that we have. You don't know enough information. If you did, you wouldn't be religious. That would be my argument. Yeah, if you have sufficient information, you wouldn't be religious.
All right,
I can't like back that up with studies, but I genuinely believe that.
Y'all give me 30 seconds. I will be right back. And like I said, anybody who wants to come in and talk, there's the Discord link right there.
You guys should seriously come in. Come on, General Line and Roy and everybody else. Yeah, I tried rum for the first time like a month ago. It wasn't too bad. Different. We can do some hot takes. What's a hot take that I have? I can't think. Banjo-Kazooie, like 1 and 2 are not good games. Like, okay, they're not like bad games, but there's clearly better platformers out there.
How do we get to Banjo-Kazooie?
I was just thinking of a hot take that I have, and that was the one that I came up with.
You know what that means?
Yeah.
Any questions from the chat then about how I did research for any of the videos or any of the equipment that I use? Because I'm a little bit of I am the world's poorest gearhead. So if you look at my very first video, which is what I was watching before you came on, the video quality is so bad because it was literally just on the built-in webcam and a Blue Snowball microphone that was like out of camera. And I shot a 2-second clip for a joke from my phone, and the jump in quality from my webcam to my phone is like jarringly noticeable now to me now.
Nice. Yeah, I remember. I've watched a couple of like Hugo and Jake's old stuff, and they're like first like 6 videos. Holy moly, the sound quality is like. Please quit stabbing me in the ear. Like I can't go back and watch them because it's really bad. Yeah.
For the longest time, I would just watch tech videos instead of actually doing any content. I would watch hours and hours and hours and hours of tech videos to make sure I had the best equipment that I couldn't afford instead of actually writing stuff.
That's the best equipment I couldn't afford. I love that. Well,
Like,
so I was looking at we'll talk to someone about sound systems and on Reddit and stuff, and there was like, you have someone who will post their like $5,000 sound system, and people will be like, "Dude, that's trash, bro," and they'll put out like their $30,000 system, and I'm just like, it's such a weird gatekeeping thing with like audio files. It's really odd. To
yeah,
me.
it.
Like they're super gatekeepy. Like,
The
oh,
difference
you didn't spend like $100,000? Oh, you noob. Like, what? Like, what are you talking about?
The difference
Yeah.
between bad and okay is about $40. The difference between okay and good is about $300, and the difference between good and great is about $1,000. You don't need great. You just need okay.
Yeah.
For sound quality, my Blue Snowball was fine. It was fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, your sound quality is not too bad.
Yeah, right now,
Like, it's not like.
oh, right now, my like I upgraded from the Blue Snowball. I have a PreSonus Audio Box i1 for an audio interface, and I have a dynamic microphone that I'm looking to upgrade. So I actually got a real sound system, or a real microphone, a real XLR microphone for my next videos, and the sound quality is good, but that's not, I probably didn't need it. Now, granted, I've been using it for other things. I just finished my second audio book that I've got with this guy, and that was really fun. But
Oh, I like fantasy a lot, and I've actually been listening to. Do you read fiction much?
I don't read. Yeah, I don't read fiction
Oh,
much.
okay. Well, I've been
I feel guilty when I'm
listening
reading
to
fiction.
the Dresden Files, which is some of my favorite urban fantasy. Dresden Files is great. It's not super woke, like it's very, like, white man saved the day, but it's great. I love it. Yeah, and I've been listening to it, and I think John Masters or John Marston or something is the narrator. He's a great job. And then I've been reading. So have you ever heard of? Let me make sure I'm getting the author's name right.
Oh, the answer to that is almost whatever your author you're talking about is almost definitely no.
No.
I'm terrible at
Oh,
reading
okay.
fiction. I feel guilty.
Well, do you like if you were gonna read, do you like high concept sci-fi?
I like The
Like, would that
Martian
be a
quite a
thing
bit.
You should read the Culture series by Ian Banks. It's great.
I feel so guilty reading fiction. It feels like I should be like studying something every time
Yeah.
I sit down to read.
The Culture series is I've only read like a couple of them, but AIs have become so advanced they're basically like humanity's babysitters, right? Like the AIs are called minds, and they're like you could have all of humanity, the multi-billions of them, work on the same problem at once, like for a year, and the AI would just run circles around them.
Yeah.
Like they're just that smart.
I'm
but,
not.
like,
I'm trying not to
it's-
think about that right now.
Yeah, but it's like a sort of a hedonistic culture, but like not bad. Like hedonism with almost no consequences because the society's so advanced. Like, so like if you want to like get into a drug-induced stupor for like a week, it's fine. You're not gonna die. Like, yeah, it's great. Like,
To
It's,
answer your question, I don't know if I have a specific theory of gender that I ascribe to. What I look at is what is going to help the most people, and I'm really accepting of like individual concepts of gender, and I'm really what I'm most concerned with is is there certain policies and societal attitudes that we can push that are going to help the most people.
yeah, for sure.
So I'm sorry if that was kind of a non-answer to your question, but that's kind of how I view things. I'm really bad about like picking one specific ideology or one specific like theory that I subscribe to, and like that. And also, yes, we are standing Hugo. We are standing Hugo very much so.
What does that mean? What does standing mean?
Standing is a stalking and fan. It's a portmanteau of
okay.
stalking and fan.
Okay. Yeah, I saw that she came out, which I have a trouble remembering to say that. Like a lot of times I'll say he on accident, but I'm not like trying to be a dick. But
Hugo, yeah,
yeah, and I wasn't expecting that.
yeah.
Like Hugo had casually dropped that she was gay or bi, like in a Ask Hugo like a month and a half ago, and I was like, okay. I mean, I didn't like it was like super okay.
Ooh,
That seems
Destiny
reasonable.
is by.
But then I'm like, oh,
Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Destiny
did
just
not know that.
very recently at TwitchCon, on a very offhanded remark, apparently said that he was bi.
Oh.
So that's a
Huh.
thing. Oh, you thought it was a reference to Eminem Stan? I thought it was a portmanteau of stalk and fan, a stalker and fan.
It's pretty great.
Any debates featuring the progressive v establishment wing of Dems coming up?
Oh.
No, not at the moment. I was trying to debate a climate change denier, but that fell through.
Hey, everyone in the chat, vote for Bernie or Warren, okay? just okay? Like, seriously. Like, we need to get back to, like, the global default.
I could be wrong
which
on
is
that.
Bernie.
I could be
Bernie's
wrong on that
basically the
stand
global
thing.
default.
I could be wrong on that stand thing.
Vote for the centrist, Bernie Sanders.
Vote for the centrist
Slightly-
Bernie Sanders.
Well, I mean globally. Slightly left. Very slightly left. But, like, basically globally a centrist. Yes.
Yeah. I'm definitely voting for Bernie or Warren.
Yeah.
But that said, before I actually cast my vote, I want to spend about a week researching candidates as much as I possibly can.
Have you looked into ranked tiered voting? I'm like, and what's your in that situation? And what's your
Can you
opinion
say
on
that
it?
again?
Ranked tiered voting.
Rank cured voting?
Tiered.
Oh.
T-I-E-R.
Yeah. Oh, yes, I have actually heard of this before, and I wish it was a thing.
Yeah. So if Chad doesn't know about it, it's basically like, so you'd have like, say, a list of like 3 candidates, and if you write Bernie on the first one, but he drops out, then your vote goes to the second person, or like he doesn't get enough to be a majority, it like automatically goes to the next vote, which
Yeah.
is really great.
I don't know why
Like,
that's
we
not a
should have
thing
that.
already.
Yeah. So your vote always counts, just, which is nice.
Yeah, I don't know why that's not a thing.
Yeah. We also need to get rid of the Electoral College.
I do not like the Electoral College at all.
No, definitely not.
Because it makes my vote worthless. My vote
Yeah.
doesn't
Like,
matter.
if you're not in a swing state or a soon-to-be swing state, then you don't really need to go vote.
Right. I am willing to put this bet out to anybody. Well, not in chat because that's a bad place to do it. But I am willing to bet $50,000. I will bet you $50,000 against $100 that my state of Kentucky goes red in the next election. I will pay you $50,000 if it goes blue.
No,
You pay
I
me
don't wanna-
$100 if it goes
I'm
red.
good. I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good.
That's-
good. No, I don't. Well, one thing is Texas is turning purple or purpler, which is nice.
Yeah, it's like a
Yeah,
bruise.
it's always been somewhat purple, but yeah, I think a lot of these farmers. So the question you have to ask yourself: will a Republican voter that's been hurt by Trump's policies vote for a different Republican, or will they vote for Trump to hurt the liberals? That's what you have to ask yourself. Will they just vote for a different Republican, or will they vote?
It's-
Or they not? Will they?
I don't
They have three
know.
options. They can not vote. They either not vote, can vote for a different Republican, or they can vote for Trump. Because most of them aren't going to switch to Democrats. They'll say Trump was bad, but they'll still vote conservative, like by default, because they don't understand politics. But it's and if they don't vote, or they vote for a different Republican, then that's good. But if they vote for Trump just to hurt the libs, then it's going to be terrible.
Yeah, I can't think that way. I physically can't. I try to understand as best I can. I don't understand fundamentally illogical and unscientific points of view. I can't do it. Or rather, I can't argue against it because the way I argue and the way I debate is like, here's some facts and figures. Let's try to create some sort of like a broad narrative from these facts and figures. I can't work from the other way down. I can't decide something and then find the facts that support it. Which is why and that way is way easier, by the way. If you decide what you think just based on what feels the best first, and then find the facts to support it, you can find one or two studies or one or two articles that support what you want to say. That's really easy. But if you want to find like what is the actual like most of the research say and then construct an opinion from the bottom up, that is so much harder, and that's why I don't have strong opinions on very many things. Like, I'm very open on changing my mind about a lot of stuff, Not everything, trans rights, but a lot of stuff.
There was I'm gonna link a video. Also, I linked that How to Drink channel. It's great. If you're interested in the history of some drinks or why certain like if he makes like a old fashioned, he'll explain history of the drink. It's really great. But this is a article that I thought you might find interesting about how Democrats shrink the deficit more than Republicans year after year after year after year, every time they're elected, like
I think I've
across
seen
the
that
board
before, yeah.
for like 60 years. Yeah. So when people are like, I'm fiscally conservative and then vote conservative, like it's not how that works. Like their policies don't lead to fiscal conservatism. Yeah. It's a really great article. Yeah. This one.
I think I have heard that research before.
Yeah.
Learn MMT. What's MMT? Toddy fan. The delay is awesome.
Are you a sweets eater, like candy or chocolate or any of that? I'm curious.
Modern monetary theory. I want to write that down too. No, I eat way too much pizza though, and I drink too much.
I like lemon candy, which is probably my favorite candy, but not hard candy, because I'm weird. Like lemon Starburst is what I'm talking about. They're great. And the fact that you can't go buy like lemon soft candy by itself in this country is a tragedy.
Oh, do you have
Yeah.
do you have the stream on right now? By the way,
No,
no.
I do not. I
So-
can play it.
Just a little bit of a musical interlude.
Oh, is this your video about?
My thesis committee, yeah.
I try to watch it. It was too cringy.
It was a little bit cringy.
It was too cringy. I'm like, I'm sorry, man. I watched like half it. I'm like, no, I'm out.
This was the actual video that I sent to some of the faculty in my department, and it worked. I got my committee based on this video.
Nice.
So, yeah, I have my thesis committee, thanks in large part to this video. Also, my nipple
Nice.
showing.
Okay, okay. Okay. Funny. Oh, hey, I mean, I don't know if they do it, but like, Hugo and Jake do Chick Tracks, and they want guests on all the time. You should like ask them if
Oh,
you could be
yeah.
a guest. It'd be great. I think you're funny. You're like your video where you do like your that trans activist versus facts video was hilarious. Like I genuinely think it would be great. Yeah, they've been trying to get Kyle from Secular Talk on for like 2 years, and like people keep asking him on Twitter, and they're like soon, and I'm like, what do you mean like soon? Like I know he's a busy guy, but it's been like 2 years. We know because you said you asked him 2 years. Like yeah, like I know. Yeah.
The hard part
weird.
is it's because I'm very happy and appreciative and proud of having 1,000 subscribers, but that's still pretty small for a lot of these big channels. And I've been lucky a lot of the time. Like that Transactus video got tweeted out by Casey Explosion, the sloth.
Have you watched Thought Slime at all?
Yeah.
You know who that is?
Yes, and I've
Well, he
I've
does
sent him an
occasionally.
email.
He does a video where he'll like promote a channel.
Yep.
He does it like once a month. He should. Yeah, I don't know if he's done your.
He does it every video. I sent him
Does
an
he?
email on that. Yeah.
Okay.
Or he's been doing it every video for the past couple of weeks. Yeah, I mean, I've sent him an email before. Ironically, about a couple days after I published my video on comedy is politically correct, he published a video on comedy.
Okay. I gotta go. My prescriptions are ready at the pharmacy. I gotta go pick them up.
Yeah, dude, go ahead.
So,
Thank you for
yeah.
coming on and talking
Okay.
to me, and I appreciate it a lot, man.
Okay. See ya.
See ya. All right, y'all. That was That's fine. Yeah, it's cool. Cool person. Cool dude. So, any more questions? How much longer should we go? Roy Poly, Toddy fan. General line, if you're still in the chat. Monetary policy. So, I'm a pad of paper that I keep next to me at all times, so I can write down notes and stuff like this. So this was legitimately the video that I sent out. Musical interlude.
Come on down, I'll tell you about my thesis topic. It's all about shoulder pain and finding ways to stop it. One of them ways is getting balanced rotation ratios.
Now that I said it was cringy, I can't not see it as cringy. It's ruined for me. It's ruined. But old college professors thought it was great. And I say that too. Also, this video right here, this was an assignment for a class, this floating head video.
Gathering data is arguably the core of all research using the scientific method of problem solving. And the most fundamental part of good data collection is validity and reliability. But
I cannot unhear the shitty audio that I have in a lot of these videos now. Am I gonna do any more 5 and 5 videos? Yes, absolutely. I'm doing right now, it's a padded video. I like them. They're fairly easy to do. But I still try to keep a level of quality on those 5 and 5 videos. I want to find 5 studies. So if you don't know, 5 and 5 is a series. It has 3 videos in it right now, but I take 5 studies about a particular topic, and I try to craft this is what 5 studies in the research say about this specific topic. And it can't be all-encompassing because it's only 5 studies, and the whole purpose is to make it shorter. But as you can see, like 7 minutes, 8.5 minutes, and 6 minutes. I've never got under 5 minutes before. I just can't do it. I can't do it, y'all. I can't make a short video, and I'm sorry for that. I enjoy doing them. They're a week's worth of work instead of 2 months worth of work, as a lot of my main videos are. So what I would consider my main videos is this first one here. So is social science real science? Next one will be transactivists versus facts. Next one will be humor and morality. And then 3, 5, and 5s. The dishonest framing of anti-SJW YouTube, I narrated that, and I did a little bit of editing for it, but that's not my video. And then these 2 videos right here, satire is jokes and the making of a response video, this was all done in a day. These 2 videos comprised 3 hours of work, and the whole purpose of them was an experiment to say that response videos of the style that Tim Pool does take 0 effort. So humor and morality took 2 months of work. Satire versus jokes and this video right here, the making of a response video, took 3 hours of work. And 749 versus 832. 2 months of work. Not even 3 hours of work. Yeah, about roughly 3 hours of work here. I'm not bitter at all. What is this channel about? So this channel is devoted to, it's a very science-focused channel from a leftist standpoint. So I'm really interested in a lot of traditionally social justice warrior talking points, but ultimately what I want to do is create good content that has a lot of scientific backing that helps support the most people possible. It's something that's thinking about long drawn out video essays with lots of academic sources about science and social topics from a lefty perspective. Occasionally I make music and do debates. It's tough because I'm still a new channel. I'm still finding my voice right now, my biggest contention is how much time do I devote to debates, and how much time do I devote to making actual like scripted content. I enjoy both, and the debates are definitely easier. Like it's easier to put out, a debate with someone. It's easier to make that content than it is to sit down, do research for a couple of weeks, write a script, and then do it through all the pain of making a recording and then editing the video afterwards, versus just a live stream debate where there's no editing. It's way easier to do the debate than it is to do the live content, but I still enjoy that, and I still think it's a good way to get a lot of points across. What political ideology do I find myself closest to? I'm terrible with this question. I really am. I'm on the left, but I can't find good information like what separates a Dem Soc from a Soc Dem versus a communist versus a socialist. I can tell you right now, and a lot of it has to do with being from the United States. A lot of those labels are really like tainted. I can tell you that I'm in favor of Medicare for all, free college for all, tuition forgiveness for all, and a very strict Green New Deal. Those are the policies that I find most important right now. Am I a vegan or a tanky? I'm not a tanky. In fact, I've met a tanky. I met my first tanky. And I'm not one, apparently. So, there's the answer to that question. And I'm not a vegan, but I did, for the first 3 months of this year, go completely vegetarian, and it wasn't that hard. It's something that I could see myself doing long term. Like, going vegetarian was not hard. I didn't miss very much at all. So, you're a tanky and a vegan. Oh, awesome. Toddy fan. All SJWs should be vegan. I've heard a lot of good arguments from that perspective. I've heard a lot of people say that, if you truly believe in social justice, you should bring animals into it, and I definitely see that. I would not argue against veganism, against vegetarianism, because I don't see a logical standpoint from one to the other. Like, I don't see a logical standpoint from believing in social justice and rights and empathy and reducing suffering. I don't see that also it's okay to slaughter animals, especially in the system that we have, where animals are treated like absolute garbage in factory farms. Yeah. I would not want to argue that position, so. This is the last real video I put out, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is the 5th video since the last real video that I put out. I need to get to work on that. So, my enormous audience, 12 people. So right now my next video is going to be on the how capitalism has influenced the American higher education system. So post-secondary education. Is that a topic that y'all would be interested in hearing? Like, how has capitalism influenced the way college functions? Is that a topic that anybody cares about other than me? Because that's how I kind of felt about comedy. I love comedy so much, y'all. I love researching comedy, and I love thinking about how comedy works and how a joke functions and how the recipient deals with a joke and how they process it and why they laugh. All that shit is super interesting to me, but it felt like there was like no one else who cared, which I'm sorry, but 832 views. Human Morality, if you haven't seen it, I'm actually really proud of that one. I put so much work into that one, and the newest one, Comedy Must Be Politically Correct, I had a lot of help promoting that one. I'm all proud of that one too. So awesome, cool. General Line, Fi, and Toddy Fan. Yes. So, like I said, I've already bought 2 books on it. I showed them earlier in the stream. I'll show them again. And I'm in classes right now. So, bought these 2 books. Tuition Rising and History of American Higher Education. I've already bought 2, and I'm reading them right now. And I'm in a class right now with a lot that has brought forth a lot of like policies from the past. And I bought a documentary called, it's a few years old now, it's about 5 years old now, The Ivory Tower from CNN Films. Yes, it's CNN. But they also have a lot of like facts and data that I'm going to use. And plus, I can just rip graphics straight from them and hopefully not get a copyright strike if I cite them. So, awesome. Thank you very much, Five. Comedy videos, yeah. That is my passion project. I really love comedy, so thank you for saying that. I feel like I could talk for 20 more videos on comedy. I just don't want to overload people. Right now with grad school kicking up into midterms and stuff, it's hard to justify like all the research I do for grad school. Right now, the reason I'm doing, one of the reasons that because I want to be a teacher. So I want to be a college professor. That's what my ultimate career goal is. And so it's really easy for me to right now to justify doing all this extra research on the American higher educational system. It's really easy for me to justify that because that's also for class in a certain way. And a lot of the research I do for papers that I have to write can be doubled and done for videos. And when I finish my video, I probably am going to show it to like my professors to see if I can get some brownie points. But actually, I might have an outline. Do I have an outline? Both cats are in the chair behind me, and I love them, and I would die for them. Yeah, so I have like 3 notebooks. So I have a page of an outline here, a page of an outline here. By the way, that's how I cheat a little bit because in grad school all of your classes are 3 hours, and when you don't want to listen for forever, and you don't want to be on your phone or anything, I just have a second notebook that I take notes about what like videos and points that I want to make. So a lot of it is going to be based on how teachers function, because that's a lot of the research that I already have access to. Like, why is research such a big priority? Spoiler alert, it's because research brings in money. So, Toddy Fan, you're a teacher. Cool, awesome, that's really cool to hear. That's all I can see myself doing. I was a teacher for 2.5 years at a personal training academy. Yes, I know. Don't look at me now, but I used to be in really, really good shape. Yeah, so I was a personal trainer for 6 years, and I taught at a personal training academy, and I love teaching so much. It's all I can see myself doing. And that's part of why I like making YouTube videos, because I feel like I'm teaching. Even though that's really a really pretentious way to think that, like, oh, I'm educating the populace about whatever topic I'm talking about. It's still, I go into it with that mindset, and it's fun for me. So even if I stop now and I stop my growth now, I'm still having fun. I still like writing. I still like getting in front of my cheap-ass camera over there and making content and formulating opinions based on a lot of the research. It's still really, really fun. And by the way, if you're thinking about creating content, please do so. If you need any help whatsoever on any of the technical aspects or any of the like editing or script writing aspects, please contact me. I want to help you. I love this stuff, and I love to help other people too. And my husband's home. Hi, honey. So general line, we watched one of your videos on stream, dude. I'm a big fan of yours. Like you're really I'm really excited for you. So yeah. Yeah, the whole point was to ask questions. LSP? Of course you can ask questions. So, the general line, if you ever want to collab on anything, you let me know, okay? I had a lot of fun collabing with Godless Cranium, and if you ever want to do anything with me, I actually really liked that process, so. I do want to play Overwatch LSP. That's definitely a question that I have answered. Oh no. The chat is going to devolve. Anybody want to yell at me? Tell me things I've done wrong? I'm actually, by the way, if you come at me in good faith and tell me that I've gotten something wrong, I will always listen to you. I want to know if I've gotten anything wrong or if I had a bad opinion that was poorly supported. So please, I will not cancel you or unfollow you or think less of you if you come at me with in good faith and tell me that I've gotten something wrong. Never feel uncomfortable doing that. So. Oh, let's go on for a little bit longer here. Let's take a look at some of the shitty green screening I've done and how terrible I am at editing.
Yes, the Chuckle Hut has billed me as a mere comedian, but I stand before you tonight a hero!
So this is super blurry because my computer basically crashed and I had to upload it in 720p with a lot of hey, look, this shadow's not supposed to be there. Giant spot. There's 13 effects layered over top of this, and my crappy little laptop couldn't handle it at the time. So this video took about probably 10 hours longer than it needed to take just because of technical difficulties. And the entire video, when I'm on camera, is green screen. So. Oh, that's. Of course, this is the frame I pause on.
They view humor as a form of mockery.
You cannot freeze frame a video and make yourself look good. This took a lot of work, but you can still see some bad green screening there. And despite the fact that I knew I was bad at green screening, I got worse in my newest video. So I use Adobe Premiere because I get it free through school. You can see I have one light source here, and it's off to my right, and so it's casting a lot of shadows. And my green screen for the second one, I literally just took thumbtacks and hung it up in the ceiling, so it was just hanging down all these folded crease marks, wrinkles from being stored away forever, nothing stretching it apart. So I will learn in the future, but I did get some cool effects. And also, my popping on this mic was terrible.
In the South, he didn't have the accent. This was a threat to his authenticity.
The entire reason on this video that I have the reverb, I added it in post, is because my popping was so bad that it was unusable to sound good normally. So I figured adding reverb on it, the pops wouldn't make as big of a difference. Coke or Pepsi? Coke. Coke because I don't savor things. I drink things quickly. And the entire reason Pepsi does better on taste tests is because it's a little bit sweeter. And so if you only have a little bit of Pepsi, it's better. But I don't have a little bit of Coke. I don't have a little bit of Pepsi. I drank 2 cans of it while I eat an entire pizza by myself, alone in the dark. So, Coke. All right, y'all. So, I'm about to call it here. Any last questions? One big shark or a million bunnies all at once? Oh. Immediate terror versus horrible, drawn-out pain. That's actually tough. Probably the one shark all at once. Congrats on reaching 1K. Yeah, thank you, Fi. Actually, let's see if I can do a little bit of green screen for general line here. It's actually not the worst thing in the world, okay? So if you have Adobe Premiere, and if you don't, I recommend it, but I get it for free, so I'm biased here. I might be wrong here. Never mind. I lied to you. Great stream. Great stream. Can't find anything. It's 2 clicks. All software is free if you try hard enough. Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if I would recommend that though. If a train leaves Washington, D.C., miles an hour, train departs. How long before they cross paths? 2 hours and 9 minutes. You're not going to check? As far as you know, I'm right. As far as you know, I nailed it. You're not going to check. No. Did you seriously do it? Yes. I did. In my head just now. Of course I did. Many innocent lives have been irrevocably ruined by the warmongering policy of Hillary, Obama, and Biden. Probably too many. I know a lot about like 3 things. So, yeah. If you talk to me a lot, you'll know that unless I've done hours and hours and hours of research on any one topic, I don't have a strong opinion on it because I'm not comfortable expressing it, which is kind of a wuss move, but also it's something that I like hold dear to my heart. Like I don't want to have big opinions on something that I don't know everything about. Alright, so I think that is the call. Considering my husband is here, and let's see where the chat's going. Yeah. I think I'll end it here. Thank you all for tuning in, stopping by. Thank you so much for Phoenix for stopping in and chatting with me for an hour or so. I appreciate him for that. So, y'all have a good rest of your night.